Bruce Isaacson earned degrees at Claremont McKenna, Dartmouth, and Brooklyn College, where he wrote a thesis for poet Allen Ginsberg. He was a surprise finalist in the inaugural Nuyorican Poetry Slam in New York. In San Francisco, Bruce coordinated the famed spoken word Cafe Babar reading series. He is Poet Laureate Emeritus of Clark County, Nevada, home to Las Vegas. Bruce founded a 501c3 nonprofit and runs weekly open readings via Zoom on Saturdays. As publisher of Zeitgeist Press, he has published over 150 poetry titles to date. His books include 6 full-length poetry collections, including the latest, Anthems of the Doomed. He recently released a novel, Vegas Dirt, about people trying to make a living in Las Vegas. Bruce has lived in Michoacan, Mexico, New York City, LA, Berkeley, San Francisco, Leningrad, Russia, and Las Vegas. Please welcome Bruce Isaacson.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me okay? Am I okay,
Yes,
good.
it's good.
So I'm just gonna like go right into the poems. I'm working on a new book or I'm working on pulling together a new book. And so not all, but most of these poems have never been in a book or anything. So I'm just gonna start with some shorter poems and then we'll see what happens. This is called Holding On to the Truth. Everyone I know tells lies. The newspaper tells lies. My congressman tells lies. My lover, whom I love, tells lies that I love. From the long end of the telephone line, she rubs herself and calls it romance. And the truth of it grabs me in the bathroom at McDonald's, my thing in my hand, as I look up and wonder, what is that president up to? Okay. This one's called Sing. And it's for, oh gosh, I'm so happy to see so many of you that I know from the days when I lived in the Bay Area and I've been a poet back and forth to the Bay Area. And this one's for Julia, actually. It's called Sing. It's short. And it's on listening. The occasion was on listening to a rock star croon about love. I am 60 plus years old. Finally, love doesn't seem mostly about what we feel deep inside or elsewhere, or the beauty of a beloved. It's more like 1,200 meals together, a sharing so close we nod our heads inside. It's friendly eyes that believe in you, that are young and old at one time. It's the daily things we do for each other, with the hymn of birdsong at twilight. It rhymes with the voice heard from the womb. If we feel deeply, as we should, that's the spark for what we do in the world, in our lives. As the crimson sky turns lavender, then gentian blue, then chilled black. In the end, despite cold flesh, it's the ways we help one another that endure, the warmth of colors that fill us, how gentle lines of sympathy embrace the eye. She was my dearest friend. Let her song fill the evening sky. This is an ode for Kathleen. I write a lot of poems for the poets that I was in love with in the 1980s because I was in love with the whole scene. I'm still in love with poetry scenes, but this one is an ode for Kathleen. It starts with you on the road from Kansas, 15, raped by trucker. You'd already been raped by a stepfather, then 3 more times in the next 5 years. You called us the poets from hell because you'd been there. But still, your beauty, like a sunrise, delicate yet overpowering. The dyed scarlet hair against dark clouds, the softness of your shape against fierce freakouts when suddenly you couldn't stop screaming. Yet I remember best when you finally calmed, the way your thin fingers on small hands touched lightly on my forearm, finally relaxed. Yes, you taught me how to love what's feral, to hold myself in check at wild fury. You taught me how to love what the world had destroyed. You taught me how to love. Lifelong friend, living in my spare room with Danielle, where Danielle was the mommy and I was the daddy, and you, our delicate beloved. Memories spread out in me like bread rising, the way you loved little Nancy and loved Sister Death and Lerner. Amazing how you loved Lerner. The deer and the bear had peace over poem, over gossip, over giggles. I want people to know the wonder of it. Yet you were in and out of nut houses. I went to see you one time, too much hurricane to get treatment for your broken leg. Then finally you did it. You got better. The mind can heal in community. You went on to finish a BA at City College, then a master's, stripping the whole time. I remember that morning at the Vietnamese breakfast cafe when you first called yourself a Tenderloin Rose. I walked with you and Danielle to the midday shift at the Market Street Cinema. You gleefully called it the seediest strip club in SF, as the girls milled around waiting for the doors, heroin addicts debating health foods, and Danielle's domination on display in leather while you looked delicate as a dandelion growing from cracks in pavement, freckles, and your small, lovely, ski-jumped nose between two blue eyes, darting in fear, then quickly breaking into smile. The one cutely crooked tooth that made clear you're no tourist here. Yes, your customers could mistake you for the professor's daughter you were, but Kathleen's a lifer of streets, of tragic beauty. So strong no one could look away. Straight men, bi women, straight women. All of us wanted to calm you, to make a world safe for you. It wasn't. Even after books and pubs and zines, even after the masters in psych, you bounced back to the nut house. The girl who couldn't stop screaming. The girl scarred by sex. Our own Marilyn, invited from the reading to dinner by Sean Penn, and the long-term affair with guitarist of the DKs. The writer who saw clearly, innately, naturally funny. I recall Gregory doing his street theater shtick, how the poets all wanted to steal his mantle, and Kathleen looks legitimately frightened as she asks, "Can you get scabies from a mantle?" I try to see you every time I'm in the city. 2 times ago, Zuckerberg Memorial, well named for power and pain. You're the memorial part. In a locked unit, after the husband who'd yell at you finally got out of jail. Mark, like any of us, loved you as best he could, but you were too psychotic for PT. Now broken, now bedbound, the girl who once walked for hours all over the city, who'd read an incredible poem, then leave the notebook on the number 14 mission bus, and more, the most direct, honest voice in America, streaming out from the hooker cafe, now imprisoned finally by her fear. Last time I visited, they'd given you another drastic med that made your head bobble from side to side, painful to watch, so that despite your amazing ability to heal, I just hope for cease of sorrow, that your suffering might end. Even husband Mark said he didn't see a way out, and we agreed to keep in touch. And then, of course, I didn't hear from him for a year of loneliness and ISO. The year my daughter had her embolism. So long ago since Danielle joked with you about how she was the mommy and I was the daddy, and this seemed to light a delicate smile in your eyes. Then Danielle disappeared into her hero legend, drag queens, heroine, hubris. 2 decades since I heard from her, but remember how you protected me from a Susan. And finally, I'm 67 and divorced again, and the world seems like nothing but loss. When a poet friend asks, what of Kathleen? And it all comes flooding back. So I call to find your phone number answered by a dude who calls me darling and doesn't know you. So I call husband Mark, phone number disconnected. He said he'd have trouble keeping it together when the hospital took your SSI and talked vaguely about moving to Virginia. But lo, did he leave you, desert you? Did you die and disconnect as I am disconnected of my past, my memories, my youth, loss, maroon dog? Where are you? That was my Kathleen poem. And then I want to do another kind of weird lost poem. This one's pretty new. This one's very new. It's the newest one. It's called Dad Forever. Dad Forever. The talent show wasn't that interesting. I was more interested in playing Pinchy Butt with the girl. She was lovely, funny, willfully errant, young. Then I looked at the performer list and saw my name there. I was supposed to give a talk on the new economic thinking. I'm thinking, well, maybe I could do that, all extempore. Then saw him sitting in the second row, sitting, relaxed, back rolled into a question mark, ankles crossed, in khakis, rumpled with an at-home alone dress shirt. He was calm, waiting to hear me. He'd come out for the event, even 15 years after his death. He was still waiting to hear what I had to say, just sitting, relaxed, waiting for me to start, waiting. I woke up. This is something that happened to me when I was 7, in Fred Zelkowitz's kitchen, the short. She looked at me through moist eyes of 40 plus years of living, of sadness. I had just turned 7. I noticed a 6-digit number tattooed up the inside wrist of left arm. What's that? The child asked. She looked at me with pause as her moist eyes got wet. Something I got when young. How about a piece of cake? Mrs. Zelkowitz was burned into my mind for excellent homemade coffee cake with ribbons of sugar and cinnamon. 60 some years ago, but it's important. Really? So some of you, I can see people there in the audience who will remember the poet Andy Clausen, and I have a longer elegy for those. My story with Andy, who was really a beautiful friend and a wonderful writer. His beat, his memoir of the beats is really essential reading that period, I think. But this is a little bit different. It's very short. It's called Standing for Andy Clausen. At the Starbucks where I wrote my poem to Walt Whitman, they've taken out all the chairs. No more room for people, just transactions. Drive up, mobile app, text, phone call, or order on a computer screen in the lobby. But please don't sit and drink your coffee. Please don't sit and think about my friend of 40 years who died yesterday in New York. If I want to do that, I'll have to do it standing. Standing. Here's a poem. I can read this one. This is this is from my book, Leningrad to Las Vegas. This is one of the books. And this is, it opened right to the page. So that was, it's perfect. So this is about my first wife who died a few years ago. It's a dejection from memory. This poem is called, How Are You Doing? And she'd been working the salad bar about 2 weeks when he caught her. A moment without anything in her hand. Came up and just blurted it out. How are you doing? He was a wiry guy with brown hair and black glasses, 40-ish, large birthmark on his cheek. He was the boss. And she stood there and stared because she didn't know what to say. Maybe he was trying to make a point, like she wasn't working hard enough. But she'd been cleaning all around the salad bar, picking up lettuce that had fallen in the macaroni, wiping up cottage cheese spilled on the floor. But everything was clean. So what did he want? She didn't understand because her English wasn't too good. And she'd try to explain she was just learning English. And they'd say, whoa, seems like you're doing great. And then go back to talking like computer chips. So this time she just stood there, staring at the mole on his face, a large brown spot with 1, 2, 2.5 hairs growing out like geraniums from a pot. Are you happy? He said, and twitched off a small smile, revealing his teeth to let her know this wasn't supposed to make her nervous. Are you happy? This she understood what to feel, how to say. In Russia, I am taking 2 degrees. I am stage maker, the Leningrad University, and also I am oceanographer. I work film making script, documental theater, 6 years. They're ready to give me my film now, but in Russia, everything broken. I cannot work, so I come to America and make 450 salad bar. She stopped and stared at him. Well, I could move you to pouring drinks. She knew the kid at the drink counter. He was trying to get his family from El Salvador. No, she says, is not necessary. So you are happy. She paused long enough to count, then put on her most simple-minded peasant grin. Yes, I am happy. This is called Weep. As we Americans change from a constitutional republic, consider this. My daughter's small black and white kitty just died. We don't know why she didn't come home last night. They found her little Holstein-colored body, and my daughter can't stop crying. She had a good home, but went cavorting the neighborhood full of dogs and poisons. She used to look up at me, meow, and arch her spiny back, expecting my hand. She'd sit on Amy's bed before sleep time, satisfied eyes half closed, with her unique, high-pitched purr. She was part of the family. Now my daughter cries. I am at the gym vainly to extend my life. And it is not the beautiful republic we love. Amy at least knows to weep. This is the last one. Strategy. I love this reading, and thank you for giving me the chance, Shauna and Sandy, and all of it. Thank you so much for the chance. This is called Strategy for the Times. America doesn't grow, it just keeps getting bigger. But after my lifetime of largesse, maybe it's time to consider getting smaller, to hope against hope again. hoping to reduce my mass. Like a black hole, hoping for infinite gravity, hoping light will bend passing by. Not love, not again, not likely. Just something to warm my planet, like a new green jacket, furry, zipped, size small. 158 pounds, November 9, 2024. I consider the bulk of the world about me as I stay still in my place. No orbit, no travels. Humbly, I need to stay close to a bathroom. Eschew the largesse of the kitchen. No butter, no beef, no bread, no sugar, no cream, no big plans for the future beyond this. Stay small. Stay aware. Keep the eyes darting. Keep the brain machinating like a hamster wheel. Keep flexible flexing. Keep light on the feet, head in the air. Stand straight, square up, chance everything, spill nothing. The cacocracy can careen. The regular will fall out of order. The truth will surprise us. So stay steady, stay ready, stay put in my periwinkle corner of belief. Tautology has taught me. Believe your beliefs. Love. The rest is just a carnival. It's a whirligig, a surly dig. Yours is not there. Use empathy and feeling and every piece of heart you have to stay put. Stand straight. Hear the call. Believe hard. Stay small. Thank you so much.